I designed and built my own affordable version of the Sip and Puff mouse, an accessibility device for people with motor issues in their hands that allows them to interact with the computer like they would a mouse using this joystick and then sipping and puffing on the tube on the end in order to click and right click. Traditionally, these devices cost thousands of dollars for the people who need them most, but I was able to build this prototype for under $30 in parts. I used an affordable Arduino microcontroller and wrote some code on it to trick my computer into thinking it's a mouse when it's plugged in. I then attached this joystick I had lying around and mapped it to the mouse movements. And lastly, I attached this pressure sensor that's traditionally used on RC airplanes to detect airspeed, but I mapped it to the sipping and puffing to detect the clicks. I then 3D printed this nice little enclosure for it and put all the parts in there. I also added this little tripod screw at the bottom to allow for the most universal mounting solution so people would adapt it to their needs. I found this really cheap microphone arm I found on Amazon is a great solution, but again, the flexibility is the key here with this thread. Now, even though it is a prototype, it does work great, but my goal is to make this even cheaper to be able to get into as many hands as possible. I found these PS5 joysticks that are much higher quality and I get for a lot cheaper in volume. I've also been exploring a bunch of other sensor options for the sip and puff detection. This is the most expensive part, so I could save here, it will be huge. And lastly, designing a custom PCB to make the whole package much easier to assemble than it is now. My goal is to fully open source this project over the next few months and be able to produce them for under $50 for those who need them. If this sounds like something you want to follow along with or support, make sure to toss me a follow, because I think you're going to be seeing a lot of this thing over the next few months. Do you know what Wi-Fi 7 is? Well, you probably should, especially if you're considering upgrading your home's Wi-Fi because it's feeling a little bit sluggish or if you need a little bit of extra range. So Wi-Fi 7 is the latest generation of Wi-Fi and it has two major improvements. First, it supports transfer speeds twice as fast as the previous generation. This means you'll be able to download files at double the speed. And even crazier, double the bandwidth, meaning you'd have twice as many devices on your network without it breaking a sweat. Now, the only problem is since it was released last year, Wi-Fi 7 hardware has been prohibitively expensive up until now. This is the brand new Eero 7, and not only is it one of the most affordable Wi-Fi 7 routers on the market, but it also has insanely impressive specs, ideal for internet plans up to 2.5 gigabits a second, support for 120 devices, and up to 2,000 square feet of coverage. Setup process is crazy simple and anybody can do it. It took me 5 minutes just following along the steps in the app. And if you need a little bit of extra range, the Eero system can be configured as a mesh network. Just pick up 1 or 2 extra routers and place them anywhere in your house that you need a little bit of extra coverage. All seamlessly connect to one another, creating a seamless network throughout your house, giving you all the coverage you need. And then for anybody who needs the absolute best of the best, the Eero Pro 7 sports a crazy powerful antenna with up to 5 gigabytes a second of transfer speeds and 200 devices worth of bandwidth, with also having more advanced options like these outdoor routers for your patio or lawn space. With Wi-Fi 7 finally being accessible at an affordable price and being packaged in such a sleek, easy to use system like the Eero, now is the time to upgrade your Wi-Fi if you've been thinking about it. Check out the link in my bio for the Eero 7, you won't regret it. Since my last few videos on it, you guys have had a lot of questions on how certain features work on the DJI Osmo Mobile 7P gimbal, so here's a full tutorial on how every single feature works on this thing. Starting off the best part, how easy this thing is to get up and running. The magnetic hot swap clamp clips to your phone. That magnet's on the gimbal. Then no startup sequence, no balancing, just open up the gimbal, it'll auto balance itself, and just like that, you're stabilized and filming right out of the box. You have 4 stabilization modes. The first mode doesn't stabilize in this direction, but you can tilt the camera up, down, left, and right, and it will follow. Push this M to switch modes. Next mode will only allow you to turn left and right, but it will stabilize up and down and side to side. Next mode will let you move the camera in all directions, including side to side. This is called FPV mode and allow you the most freedom when you're filming while still keeping the camera stable. And then this final mode, which is kind of fun, stabilizes in all directions, but if you use the joystick here, you'll be able to turn the camera for these really neat spinning shots. Whatever mode you're in, you could use this joystick to move the camera within the constraints that the stabilization mode allows. Then you have a trigger on the back here that will lock the camera. So as you go up and down, if you hold the trigger, the camera's gonna then stay stabilized and not follow the gimbal going up and down, even though the mode allows for it. Double tapping that trigger will also recenter the gimbal if you've been moving it around with the joystick. Triple tap that trigger, and your camera flips around so you can film with the other camera. Double tap this little rotation button here and we'll switch between landscape mode and portrait mode. To access some of the gimbal's more advanced features, we're gonna download the DJI Mimo app. Then we're gonna go to our phone's Bluetooth and we're gonna connect to the gimbal's Bluetooth. Once you've done that, you've now unlocked features like being able to zoom using this scroll wheel on the left here, or record straight from the gimbal using this little record button here. And crucially, track items. So you can now place an item in the frame on the DJI app. You can select it using this little box here, and it's now going to track that item as you move the gimbal around it. No matter where you go, it's going to keep that item in frame as you move about it. This makes it really easy to get really clean B-roll. You can also use this same feature to track yourself as you move around your frame and shot. This will allow you to just get a little bit more dynamic shots and have it look like you have a cameraman filming you when it's really just you. Now, a major downside of this tracking is it does require you are in the DJI app to do it. You can't use TikTok, Instagram, or your phone's native camera if you'd like, which is where the multi-purpose module comes in. The module simply clicks onto the side of the gimbal like this with an easy to remove little mount. It just magnets on. You're now going to be able to go into your camera app of choice. We'll just use the default camera here. Now, even though we're not in the DJI app, what we're going to do is tap once on the back trigger here, and you'll see this light's going to go green. What it's actually going to do now is track me as I move around the space despite me using that default camera. It's because this camera on the module is tracking me, moving me around, totally agnostic of the phone. You can also disable and enable this feature remotely by holding up your hand in the air like this. You see the light go red, that disables the tracking. The same module also has a built-in light for filming that you can turn on and off by pushing and holding the zoom dial down here. You can also adjust the settings through the buttons on the top of the module, whether that's changing the color temperature, the brightness, or just powering it on and off. And lastly, my favorite part, if you want access to the super high quality audio of the DJI Mic Minis, but you don't want to have to buy the expensive charging case and adapter, you can buy a kit with just the Mic Mini itself, which is super affordable. Plug a USB cable from the module into your phone. That multi-purpose module is now going to work as a DJI Mic Mini receiver, giving you that same high quality audio without all the cost. This thing packs so many features in it for just a little gimbal. Hope that helped. This bad boy does have a lot of features, and I thought for anybody thinking about buying it from my videos, they'd want to see how they all actually work and how you interact with it. Like I said, they are simple, but there is a lot of them. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.